ProWrestlingSheet.com.
All right, welcome everybody to this week's episode of Collider Body Slam Raw Recap. I'm still recovering from the greatest pay-per-view ever, the Crown Jewel. No, I'm joking. Oh, my God. I voted this morning. Here he is. I hope you all got a chance to get out there and vote. If you're in America, hope you got a chance to get out there and vote and do your civic duty there. I fought for your rights, so get out there and vote for damn sakes. Spent 8 years eating MREs and dealing with wearing camos. Anyway, I'm John Rocha, one of the hosts of the show, joined as always by my co-host here, Ryan Satin, the CEO of Pro Wrestling Sheet. Brother, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Haven't voted yet, but I'm going to. I'm kind of voting. Don't worry.
I will follow you home.
No. I was like, because it's near my apartment, my polling place. So I was like, do I go before work or do I just go on my way home? I was like, I'll probably just leave a little earlier because it said it was open until 8, the poll. So I was like, I'll just go a little earlier, hit that up, get home for Smackdown, and then vote. So I'm voting. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm going to vote.
Yeah.
Although I've been so busy with the site, I haven't really looked through like everything thoroughly.
Okay.
So I'm planning on doing that during my lunch break today.
Okay.
I'm like, I have my pamphlet thing.
Right,
I'm planning on doing that today. So I hope everyone else is voting too.
Yeah.
I know that you've heard every single person tell you that, so you're probably so annoyed with it.
Ad nauseum.
Even I have started to get annoyed with it, and I'm like on their side with it, and I've just been like, get it. Like I got an email from Chipotle today telling me to go vote.
Go vote.
And I was like, Chipotle.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to your email chains to tell me to vote.
Hey.
If you have to wait for Chipotle to tell you.
Chipotle is the one that pushes you over the line. You gotta take a look at yourself a little bit.
Yeah, like, you gotta look at your priorities a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I was telling my girlfriend the same thing without being too risque on here. Like this, I saw this porn star tweet saying something along the lines of like how you're not allowed to sleep with me unless you vote. And I was thinking, although it was much dirtier than what she said.
I'm sure it was.
But I laughed because I thought the same thing to myself. Like, if that's what you needed to push you over the edge to go vote, but maybe you shouldn't be voting.
I've never seen. I don't know. We're going to talk about wrestling. We're talking about wrestling, but I've never seen such a mobilization of companies and people and online, like on both sides of the fence, encouraging people to vote. This feels like something massive. And your tweet last night was hilarious, using that Raw gif of everybody fighting on the ramp, saying these are the polling places today, which is very funny.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's crazy. It's everywhere you look. I've been a voter now for I don't know, like over 10 years now, and. Man, I've never seen it like this before. I obviously it's because of Trump, but also at the same time, it's not helpful. It's just because of all the hate that's out there right now. It's just everybody's just so hateful. Everyone's so angry.
Yeah.
So I think that plays a big part too. It's just like the country is angry right now.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna wake up like they did after the church fight in the Kingsman, and everyone's like, "What just happened? What did we just do to each other?" And we're like, "Man, we need to go home." And like, "Are you okay?" Like, let's just all go home and relax and like forget this anything of this ever happened. Let's move on.
Speaking of forgetting things that ever happened and moving on. We should talk about Crown Jewel. That's a good one. Right when he said it, I was like, yeah, perfect. How funny was it, first, that they were basically going to sneak Hulk Hogan onto this show if that hadn't leaked up before, and then the statement they sent to me, which we talked about here on the show last week.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
And number two, so they say he's going to be a host, but he literally was like, he had a 1.5-minute promo.
That's it.
Is not seen the rest of the show.
Nope.
And it is not mentioned whatsoever on Raw last night, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was very telling that this was not necessarily WWE wanting to bring him back.
Yeah.
This was trying to appease the Saudi government who paid them a lot of money to put on these shows, and they were like, hey, we're going to give you a lot of money. You bring Hulk Hogan back. And they're like, well, it's a little problematic in the United States with Hulk Hogan right now. Like, no, we don't care.
Yeah.
We love him in Saudi
Arabia.
Arabia.
Here.
It's cool. He's cool here.
He's cool here.
You're bringing him back.
Yeah,
and Vince is like, wait, how much you giving me? Done.
Yeah.
You know? But because they didn't mention it at all.
No.
But
tell him what happened.
With Hulk?
Tell him what happened with Hulk.
When he came out?
With Pro Wrestling Sheet and Hulk.
Oh.
Are you allowed to talk about that or no?
He blocked the wrestling sheet.
He blocked the wrestling sheet.
I don't know what we did. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I assumed he blocked me before he blocked the wrestling sheet account because I have been more vocal than the wrestling sheet account. The wrestling sheet account has had no opinion in the matter. I try my best to keep the wrestling sheet account as opinionless as possible.
It is Switzerland.
Yeah, I
try. Got blocked.
Well, it's not fully Switzerland because James once in a while he gets a little carried away during his Raw and Smackdown tweets, but I try for the most part for it to be Switzerland. So Hulk blocked the wrestling sheet account. Yes, and you know what's funny? We talked on.
You scared me. Yes, he scared me yesterday because he goes, "Wait, Rocha. Did Hulk Hogan block you?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, I wish you guys could have seen Rocha's face. It was like it was like his dreams had been crushed. I'm just like, please don't tell me you got Hulk Hogan to block me. Just please,
Hulk Hogan and The Rock cannot block me. That would just be, those are the only two people that would decimate me if they block me. I don't give a crap about anybody else in terms of celebrities or whatever, but Hulk Hogan and The Rock, no.
But it's funny because we talked on Wrestling Sheet Radio, and I think we talked a little bit briefly about it here as well.
Yeah,
but. You know, we as wrestling fans have been conditioned to have this feeling when Real American plays.
Yeah.
You know, it's similar to like when the glass shatters.
Yeah.
Or when the Rock's music hits. So I was wondering after all this time, after everything that's happened, if I would still get that feeling when his music hits, and I'd be honest, I didn't.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I got a lot of shit for it on Twitter from people who, you know, I said it kind of made me, his appearance did kind of make me feel uncomfortable. Like I was wondering if it was going to. It did kind of. You know why? Because I look at a lot of things and I go like, and I get it, like Vince McMahon's an old white dude, so whatever, you know. But like as someone who's a person of color, you know, like. I do look at it and I say to myself, like, because I'm Mexican, you know, and I have family in Mexico. So like, the racist, when him saying, like, I get that he said the N-word, so I'm not black, but like, he did say he's racist to a certain degree in that audio, and that does speak to me because I am not, I am half Mexican and Puerto Rican. And so, you know, when I watched it, I thought to myself, look at all this time away they've had China because she did a porno.
Oh, yeah.
She did a fucking porno.
Yeah, well, that was, you know, there was other factors involved in there, but certainly that was a thing they used.
The porno is why she has largely, and I know that she was mentioned Evolution, but the porno is largely, for the most part, why they don't mention her. I mean, Triple H said in that interview that, like, you know, you don't want people Googling her name, the WWE universe that are young, Googling her name and having all these porn things come up.
Right. No.
But then Hulk, who it's been 3 years, in the general scheme of things in life, 3 years is not that long.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like his world was ruined in 3 years. You know, I don't know. Like, when I was watching, I thought to myself, if that had been a black person, or if that had been a woman, or if that had been a Mexican dude that said, like, fuck whitey, or like I hate white people, like there, or you know, some. I mean, obviously the joke is that white people is a little less offensive than saying you're racist, but you know what I mean. But you know what I mean. Like,
there's no way
if they had done something like on that same level as Hulk Hogan. There's no way they'd be brought back that quickly. And I get that Hulk Hogan,
no matter how big they are.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I get that Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan, that he is one of the reasons wrestling is what it is today.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like, I watch that and I go, like, the message that I get when I watch that is that older white dudes can say racist shit and people will forget about it.
Yeah.
And that bothers me. Like, when I was watching, I just thought to myself, like, that's all I could think of while I was looking at the ring is like, why are we forgiving this guy? Like, what has he really done to make us forgive him?
And I hear what you're saying. I absolutely hear what you're saying. And it's weird for me to be on the other side of this because I know people like to call me all kinds of SJW names.
Yeah,
but like,
you're Snowflake Central.
Yeah, clearly, apparently. But no, for me, it's a tough thing because Hulkster was such a part of my childhood growing up. Like, he came along at the exact time for a kid like me to find a hero and follow along and be moved by him and be inspired by him. Like, I started lifting weights and doing my life around because of, you know, his prayers and the demandments and eat your vitamins and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you're a kid, you buy into it, or a young teen, you buy into it. But like, to see the progression, and when he became a great heel, he was fantastic. You heard about the drugs, but then you were like, well, other people were performing enhancing drugs as well, so whatever with that stuff. Vince and him breaking up. So you've been through the drama of this, and you've been through him going in and out of WWE multiple times. whenever Hulk, I still smile. Whenever I see him, I still smile. I'm still happy for him. I still want to wear Hulk Hogan shirts. But that being said, Ryan, I cannot help but agree with you. When they played Real American in Saudi Arabia with everything that happened after the Khashoggi thing, the Khashoggi murder, all of that, to have Hogan walk out to that, it really felt like this is the wrong thing. You used to stand for something that was the best of America, the best of us. And when you walk out like this, it just kind of bothered me. And I love Hulk to pieces, and I don't fault him for taking that money and doing it as a business, blah, blah, blah. I get it totally. Please don't block me.
I was going to say, don't worry, I won't cut this one. I don't want to risk him blocking you. Don't worry.
But I feel like this was the wrong message. This was the wrong message at the wrong time.
That's kind of how I feel when I look at it. And I understand the people who, I feel like in the Venn diagram of things, of wrestling fans, the people who were not mad about Crown Jewel and the people who still support Hulk Hogan largely fall in the same area. I'm sure there's a large portion who are on those. If you're on one of the two, you're kind of probably similar in that regard.
Yeah.
And that's not to make assumptions. That's not everyone, obviously.
Right.
But I just kind of felt like that's kind of how I felt when I looked at it. Like Hulk Hogan was supposed to be a hero to people.
Yeah.
And I just coming out like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Coming out, and I get that this technically was supposed to be a thing that, because it's not. I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
Even if they're going to ignore Hulk Hogan, they wanted you to watch this. They hyped this up. They made a big deal about it. I don't care if you tried to make it sneaky because of the Saudi government wanted it and you knew it was going to be problematic. You still did it. Mm-hmm. And to me, when I was watching, I was just thinking to myself, like, we're just gonna act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, we're just gonna have Hulk Hogan out here and just act like nothing happened. Yeah. I mean, they even like, it just felt very. It felt very like, just like I'm trying to think of the right word. Just kind of felt like a slap in the face.
Okay.
Like it kind of felt like we think you're stupid, so we're gonna do this because we know that you're not gonna do anything about it.
I think it felt even more than a slap in the face. It felt more like. We're just going to double down on this.
Yeah.
We know that it offends you. We don't care. We're not going to cater to this. We're not going to do the politically correct thing. We're not going to get involved in it. We're going to double down even more on it. And so, for some fans, they respected that. And for some fans, they didn't. And guess what? If you respected that, that's okay. That's your right as a fan to enjoy that. And just as much as it's a right for other people to not like it and feel a bit offended by it, both things can be seen through that prism depending on how it affected you inside. And that doesn't make either side a bad person. It's just what it is, And so that's the way I felt to it. They had a right to do that. They took their money and they walked away. Look, the WWE is never going to be accused of being on the front end of racial politics or front end of any kind of social politics. That's not their thing. They're a predominantly white company. They have rarely had a black main champ. They've never had a black main champ, full black main champion. Never. That tells you something, and you can go back, I guess, to Pedro Morales back then as Latino champion, but you've never had for the main strap, the Raw strap with the Universal Champions, which used to be, the main championship that Hogan had for years. You never had a full black person have it. Rock is half. And so that is the thing that you look at there. Yeah, Naomi held it for a long time on the SmackDown side of things. Sasha has won it at times, but always given it back up. So these kinds of things are there. So to me, that's what you come back to. You look at it. And so I don't think you can expect them to do the right thing all the time. Our issues run with the hypocrisy of it all. Yeah. On one side, Connor's cure, this, and no bullying, blah, blah, blah. But if you kill a journalist, if you're paying us enough money, we're going to be okay doing it.
We're just going to take pictures and talk about how much we love you guys.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like where's the consistency of point of view here, and you don't see it necessarily, and I think that's overall the most frustrating thing, when you come out of this thing. But
I'm getting better at the. I'm getting better at the opposing opinions thing.
Well, yeah.
For a long time, I've been real bad at it, where I'm like, I'm right, you're wrong. And
that comes with age, Ryan.
Yeah,
you're still a young guy.
Maybe that is what it is, the age thing. I'm slowly getting there. I was still technically in my 20s when I started the site, so I am getting a little better with that. And I think the intense anger I see on social media on a daily basis is attributed to that, because I'm like, everyone's just so mad at me when I have like a different opinion. I have been one to do that as well. So I'm slowly getting better at it. It's not easy though. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's real easy just to pop off on social media.
Of course.
It's just there. It's just like pop.
And sometimes people want to say the things that inspire you to pop off so that they can have an interaction with you and feel somewhat important.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all. Discourse is different. Some people do it to get attention on purpose, and that's where the discourse is not authentic.
Correct.
And that's where the problem lies.
Totally, absolutely. And before we switch on, or switch off of Crown Jewel,
I want to say
2 more things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hated the booking of the World Cup.
Yep.
I was just like, the matches they went towards initially were baffling, getting to the finals.
Yep.
But then when they got to the finals, you're like, okay, I get why they didn't put something like, let's say, Rollins and Mysterio there.
Right.
Why they went with Dolph and Miz so that they could insert Shane into the finals.
Yeah.
But then doubly baffling because you're like, what the
why is Shane involved in this at all?
I didn't, because, I don't necessarily like spoilers all the time. As much as I like to work on like the newsy part of things, but I'm not necessarily trying to like spoil what's going to happen in the storylines beforehand. So I wasn't like asking everyone around like what's going to happen at Crown Jewelers. And so when I was watching that segment, my girlfriend was leaving to go out of town. And so I'm seeing the build up to it, and I literally, right before Shane said it's going to be me, I had to pause it and like go downstairs to move my car because I was blocking her. So I was like, it's going to be Hogan. They're putting Hogan here. And I was just sitting there like, this is clearly the setup for Hogan. He's host Hogan. He's going to come in, have to save the day, save the show, save Saudi Arabia, save the World Cup, save the world. And I'm like, the whole time I'm like walking my car, like, I can't believe they're going to have Hogan do this. I can't believe they're going to have Hogan win the World Cup. I can't believe they're going to have Hulk Hogan win the World Cup. And I pushed play and Shane's like, it's me. And I just went,
yeah, it was weird.
That is weird. Like, that's exactly, took the words out of my mouth. I was just like, that is weird.
I thought it was so strange. Because I'm like, what led up to this? Like, what was the point of it? Why are you getting involved? What's to do for the storylines? These are 2 Raw wrestlers. Why are you getting involved as a SmackDown GM?
Well, no, it's Raw and SmackDown because it's Miz and Dolph.
Oh, Miz. Sorry, Miz. Yeah. Why? Like, all of it getting involved, I guess, was to help SmackDown and whatever the B show and the upcoming pay-per-view that's coming up next, obviously, But, like, I still thought it was weird.
Well, spoiler alert, because I did read the SmackDown spoilers. It's in England, Raw and SmackDown this week. So they're going on now while we're recording this.
Yeah.
If you don't want to know, I guess fast forward 2 minutes or so. But Shane said that his excuse for it was that he was trying that he did it on behalf of SmackDown. That he doesn't believe, he doesn't think that he is the greatest, the best in the world.
Right.
SmackDown is the best in the world, and he was trying to bring the trophy home to SmackDown, and that he just got caught up in the moment, which is I It's still random and weird.
It is weird. Okay.
And the last match, we got I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't want to shit.
None of these matches were enjoyable.
No, the show wasn't enjoyable.
The show was terrible. When you counter with Evolution, it was the worst.
Even when you compare it to Greatest Royal Rumble,
yeah.
I enjoyed Greatest Royal Rumble. I didn't dislike Greatest Royal Rumble.
That's fair.
I maybe disliked the idea of it a little bit. Like I said, even then I reserved judgment, and then I disliked the propaganda. But the show itself, like the Royal Rumble was pretty tight. Like there was good stuff in it. I was into it. With the Mysterio and the Hornswoggle and all that. So it was fun, So yeah, but this show was not good. I really didn't enjoy it. I really, really didn't enjoy it. It was like a chore to get through. And the main event, look, I don't want to shit on it too much because obviously Triple H got hurt. Triple H had surgery today.
Yeah.
You guys saw the picture he posted last night, but his pec got messed up. Yeah. Like, it's like just black and blue all over here. So I don't want to crap on the match too much because obviously they were covering, and Triple H is, for the most part, the one who's in the best shape out of all of them, who was going to be the quote-unquote like one carrying everyone in the match. So the fact that he got injured so quickly, I'm sure messed with a lot of the match.
Well, you can only carry 3 guys for so long.
Totally, especially when you're someone like Shawn Michaels, who one of the greatest of all time, but no, don't get mad at me, but one of the greatest of all time.
Sure.
And hasn't wrestled in forever, though. And, yes, he's training talent, but he's not going through full matches. And I do think that as the match went on, he started to feel it again.
Yeah.
Like, he woke up a little bit. He got into it.
It takes a while to get your rhythm back.
Totally. And he started to get it back. He started getting in the mode. You know, like, the moonsault was scary, though. Thought, like, hit his face almost, you know. But overall, I just didn't enjoy the match. I really didn't. You know, I think that it was a terrible use of Shawn Michaels for his return. I think that Undertaker and Kane, with each appearance, just kind of like diminished their legacy. Yeah. And I love The Undertaker, like one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. But each match, it's just like, why are we doing this?
Hey, like, I think it was Shaq who said it, or Barkley. Like, the only thing that's undefeated is Father Time.
Yeah.
And it shows when you get these bigger wrestlers. Like, Flair could keep doing it until he was in his 60s. Yeah, it was strained credibility, but it was still decent matches, right? But when you're watching this kind of stuff, you're just like, it's so obvious that it's not quality matches, and it's just like, it's fantasy booking with guys who are way past their prime, and it's no surprise that Triple H got hurt. It's not like Triple H doesn't have a history of getting hurt in matches either, so it's not a surprise that he got hurt. And it's ironic that probably the most physically able to do the match got hurt quickly in the match because he was probably uber training hard, knowing he was going to have to carry most of the match. And
I think that's the reason too.
Yeah, and boom, it snapped.
And now,
you know why? Because you're old, and that's what happens.
And now, I mean, if there was any possibility of Batista versus Triple H at Mania, that's out the window now.
Yeah, that's gone.
And with Roman Reigns out the window, not available anymore. Yeah, it's a huge gap to fill. If they were really thinking of going towards Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania, to be honest, that's a pretty big injury for someone his age.
Yeah. Yep.
It's possible he might not
wrestle ever again.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have any inside info there,
right?
But I mean, like, it's gonna be hard to lift after that. Like, it's gonna be hard to maintain that.
Yeah,
you know, and I wonder if, I mean, like, how quickly he got injured in the match. If we're gonna see him wrestle again, like, and if that's Triple H's last match, that'll suck, dude.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, Ryan, you don't get to choose how you go out. You just go out. That's true. It's very rare when people get to choose how they leave. And Undertaker, I have no sympathy for. He has had numerous moments where he could have left the WWE and never come back with great matches and left a great legacy. But him coming back, doing these things, it just kind of, like you said, it tarnishes it a little bit, and it's a shame. It's like watching Willie Mays at the end, or any of these players at the end when they think they can still do it, and you just watch it, and and we'll get to it. Watching Angle get destroyed by McIntyre, that was very tough to watch.
Really,
that was tough for me. Well,
I want to get to that, but I actually enjoyed the match.
You did, okay.
Yeah, but I'll skip ahead a little bit real quick. Yeah. But mainly for the reasons that I talked about last week on here, where I said I'd be cool with Angle being champion at a certain point. If this is where they're going with it, to me it almost feels like a Logan storyline where it's like a man at the end, not like he's dying or anything like that.
I know
the adamantium isn't like rotting inside of Angle's body, but like, but what I mean is like, he has that, like, he's even got the little scruffy beard thing going. He looks like he's an old guy with something to prove, as opposed to like Triple H and Shawn Michaels and all those guys who their storyline is like they're unbeatable forces.
Right.
We know you're not.
Right.
But I like that with this Angle thing they're going for. To me, it feels like an old man redemption story. Like, we're going to get like an old man finally like coming back. Right. I feel like that's a cool story to tell, especially with someone like Angle. We'll get to it in more detail, but I liked it.
All right.
We should get to Raw, though.
We should. Did you? One last thing. Strowman and Lesnar, did you like that match?
Oh, I hated it. Oh, my God. That man was so infuriating. Yeah,
it
was like
the worst.
Infuriating.
Just why even book it? Why even book it if that's going to be what you're going to put out?
And look, I will say, I enjoy, since we're going to get into it here, I enjoyed the follow-up with Baron Corbin and Braun. I will say, I hated it then, but I hated what it did to Braun. The way it treated Braun, it almost treated him like the much lesser than to Brock.
Yeah.
Even though he got hit with the title. I will say, though, that I feel like if it gets us back on track to destructive Braun, who was super over a few months ago prior to this heel turn, where like he's going to come back and just be like destroying things again. If that's what we needed to get there, I like that, because we needed to get back there. The opening of Raw where he came out and just fucking destroyed all those security dudes. I loved that.
That was scary as hell when he kicked that one dude.
Dude, he rocked that first guy.
Dude, I was like, because he was full speed.
He just like
and he jacked that leg up.
Full speed. He was like, boom. I was like, oh, that guy is dead. Braun just murdered that man with his foot.
He just went down.
I didn't know you could murder someone with your foot, but Braun just did it.
He went down.
Yeah,
it was so believable, and everybody was like, "Oh God, help us!" And he just destroyed everybody.
I also, since I skipped ahead there, the Alexa Bliss thing. It's interesting how they're just like they're trying. I hate how they do this with the women wrestlers, with the female wrestlers. They pretend like their injuries didn't happen for some reason. Like it's weird. Like I don't know. It's just like weird. Like they had Alexa in a match on the European tour. But she just stood on the ring apron the whole time and didn't actually wrestle. Like they're pretending like she's not injured.
Well, of course, because if they don't pretend, then they have to admit that Ronda Rousey is dangerous in the ring.
That does feel like maybe that's why. Because I mean, there are girls that are seemingly getting injured after wrestling her, and like in interviews they're saying like how hard it is. And I get that Ronda Rousey is a valuable commodity for the company, but it does. You do start to hear these complaints a little bit. Yeah,
it's starting to. The rumble is starting to grow louder and louder about these people backstage. Look, she may be the sweetest person in the world, and everybody's nice. She respects the business, but if she's hurting people, then we got a whole nother conversation to be having. Because if you're going to go off on Brie, you better mother effing go off on Ronda as well. Because Brie has way more years, and so if she's making these kinds of mistakes and you want to jump on her, great. But are you going to go and champion a rookie who's walking in and you handing her the belt, but she is injuring your competition? That's a mistake overall because you're losing matches and storylines. And especially Alexa, who is one of the top stars, if not the top female star before Ronda showed up. And so that's dangerous.
And 2 concussions for Alexa.
2, that's no joke. For a female wrestler, that is no joke.
Because I heard the whole thing like with her arm the first time was not true. I think you alluded to it on here once, and I brushed past it because I wasn't fully. I didn't want to but yeah, like
I reread it.
No, that was between us talking. That's one of the things where I said something to Rocha, and then he said it on the show. But I had heard the one that she also got a concussion after SummerSlam too, and it wasn't an arm thing. That she was out because of her concussion, and that she was having like headaches and all those symptoms, and so I mean 2 is bad. You know, 2 concussions from the same person in like 2 months is definitely not good.
Yeah, people went nuts on Rollins for throwing Sting against the buckle bomb, right? Where at what point do we start drawing the line in this kind of a situation? But anyway, we'll get to all of that.
Do you like Alexa being? Do you feel like they need? Like,
I would love it if
captains.
I would love it if she retired right now.
Alexa?
She was great in the ring in the way she looked. I saw in that moment, I saw the future of wrestling. In that moment, I saw her becoming even bigger than Paige as a GM.
You know what's funny?
She'll be great.
It's funny that you say that because I
would move Stephanie out and move Alexa in.
I think, well, I know that he loves Alexa Bliss, so he did say that in much higher praise than I would have said. I don't know about the future of wrestling, but I do think that when I was watching though, I had that same inclination where I said to myself like, oh, she's got a future as like an on-camera character after wrestling where she's going to do well. Like a Vicky Guerrero type or something along those lines.
As long as she wants to do it, I think she can do it. Transition from wrestler into character on screen.
Yeah, because it was right in that moment when she said, I'm getting the hang of it. Or I can see myself doing it. There's something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm getting the hang of this, or I kind of like this. I thought to myself, like, oh, she's realizing that she can do this and not have to take bumps, you know?
So how many people want to do that? You know? And I loved her getting interrupted, and she played both times really well when she got interrupted with other people's theme music. It was great.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Yeah. I thought she did a really good job. But is that what they've done in the past, where there's a captain that's not on the team?
Not that I recall.
Because she's a captain that's not on the team, right?
Unless it was a manager, like maybe Bobby Heenan.
Had his own.
Yeah, had his
but
stable.
But that's like old school shit. Like the real Survivor Series back in the day. Like before it went away and came back.
It was real,
back when it was still actually the Survivor Series. Now it's it doesn't, it's still, I mean, I guess it is technically. But
those were some of the best pay-per-views, man.
But it just feels different. Now it feels like a bunch of people put together.
Yeah,
well, it's teams. It was random teams put together back then too. But they had like cool name and stuff, and they kind of like tried to match match their gear up or whatever.
That's
love
one
all
of the joys of those old ones, man.
All those old pictures you see of like the Survivor Series teams and they're posing together. Man, I used to do photoshops for Wrestling Sheet Radio back in the day every week. Those were my go-to because there was 4 of us that hosted the show back then. It was my go-to. Like easy. Find a bunch of weird people standing there that are super different. I loved it. But and I'm not sure they're doing the same thing on SmackDown.
We'll find out tonight, I think.
And also on Raw with Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin, he's on the team, or is it just he's the team captain?
What's the situation? Right? Because that
was confusing, right?
Right, it was.
Okay, it wasn't just me that was confused by that. Okay.
Because on SmackDown you have what? You have Shane, and then you have Paige below Shane.
Yes.
So who is Paige's counterpart on Raw? That's Corbin. Right?
Correct.
So Shane and Stephanie are counterparts, and Triple H are counterparts on Raw versus SmackDown.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Isn't that how this works?
Yes.
So who would be Alexa Bliss's counterpart on the SmackDown side? It won't be Becky.
Well, it'll be Paige.
No, because Paige is already Corbin's counter. Paige would not be in charge of the women. Paige is in charge of the entire roster, so she wouldn't just be in charge of the women.
I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm getting at.
Well, Shane's going to be in charge of the men.
Oh.
Yeah, so Shane will be in charge of the guys.
Okay.
Yes, Shane will be in charge of the guys.
So then
I actually read the spoilers. So Shane's in charge. It's Shane who's going to be in charge.
Spoiler alert.
No, I'm sorry. It's Daniel Bryan and Miz who are the captains.
There you go.
And they chose Shane to be the first person on their team. So
wait, to wrestle or to manage the team?
To wrestle. Oh, because he's the best in the world now.
Oh, for God's sakes.
And then Paige is the women's one.
Listen, look, I know we can't spend the whole time talking about Crown Jewel, but that's the other thing that came out of it. I hated that Shane had that Shane was one of. I had a friend of mine years ago said Shane was the future of pro wrestling. Yeah. And it was when he had wrestled his first few matches, and you're just like, this guy doesn't care. He's incredible. He's a death-defying guy, 75-foot fall. But to see him come out and be the best in that scenario was the worst thing.
Yeah.
It really denigrated his legacy.
I was always the biggest Shane mark, it's been odd so far. If they go full heel turn with it, I'm okay though. If that's what it is designed to do, because you even mentioned last week that whole when he just brought one of you is fired.
Yeah,
it seemed very heel like. Yeah, and I didn't really. I thought that it was just WWE being WWE. Mm-hmm. But then seeing, Crown Jewel and seeing the heel-like vibe of just inserting yourself into the finals of a tournament that a bunch of people were involved in, I was like, I'm getting some heel vibes there too, especially when he was running around with the trophy and stuff. So if it leads to a heel turn, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I think Shane needs something a little different.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Let's talk about the big thing.
Okay.
Natty's glasses. Natty's Neidhart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart
Anvil's
sunglasses.
glasses.
All of a sudden, we want to pay full-on tribute to Anvil the Neidhart, where they're wearing those glasses. I thought we were moving past this. It was cool the first couple of weeks. Now it feels a bit like you're trading in on a man's death, and a father's death. And I get it. Like I said last week, if Roman Reigns is okay with him talking about his leukemia and blah blah blah. But Anvil's not here to talk about himself, so to say it's okay. And I know he's a lifer and all that kind of jazz, but I thought it was weird. And then to have the Riot Squad crack the glasses and have her break down. Now you're taking her actual legitimate grief and you're putting it and using it for a storyline. And that, as someone who's lost a parent, I really hated that. It made me uncomfortable. And a fan of Jim the Anvil Neidhart, it made me even more uncomfortable. So I don't know what you thought, Ryan, but this bothered me. Because I didn't see the point of it.
I've been struggling with it. Not struggling with it I've been in this deep, stress over the past 24 hours. Yeah. But we ask for more adult storylines sometimes.
Sure.
So when we get it, I don't necessarily want to complain, especially when, to go from, years ago when Natty was being given fart storylines where she farted or whatever. To now she's getting to actually act.
Yeah.
That's not the worst thing that we're getting acting. Now, I know that maybe not everyone wants to see Natalya acting.
Right.
But I applauded. I like when, me personally.
Yeah.
I like when wrestling blends reality with fiction.
Sure. Absolutely.
Now, I get it that it's tough when that reality is a tough reality death.
Uh-huh.
So I get it. I think where I draw the line is like the involvement factor, and it's like I have a hard time believing, like the glasses thing. Like I don't think that anyone watching, let's say Natty's mom is watching, and they didn't tell her what was going to happen. I don't necessarily think that Natty's mom is going to be emotionally hurt from watching that angle on TV. I don't think it's not like they said, F Anvil, or like the Anvil never loved you, or like, anything like that. That I feel like would have been a little too extreme for her.
Okay.
Like with Paige when she was making those Reed Flair comments, and it and she dug deep. I don't think breaking glasses is necessarily digging deep. Now, I say this, and next week we're going to have Ruby Riott come out and say all these terrible things about Anvil, and I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah. Have the ashes.
Yes, exactly. But for now, I looked at it as like, well, at least, we get a little acting on the show.
Okay.
Right?
I just didn't see the purpose of it because it's not like we don't know Jim the Anvil had 9 million glasses. Like, we don't know.
I think that's why it didn't hurt me as much
but
as
her reaction is what I'm getting at. She broke down and cried.
Hey, man.
That's you trading in on a legitimate grief.
It's dedication, dude. I know from acting class, right? When I was in acting class back in the day.
I wish I'd been there.
That that a lot of times you take something in your real life to equate it to get to that place.
Yeah, sure.
Now, granted, she was
but they're actually using her real life.
I get that it's a little different. I get that's a little bit different. But at the same time, like you said, there probably weren't his glasses. So technically she has to go there because of that, but it is in a character-driven world. Yeah. So I guess it's similar, but not the same. But yeah, I don't think it didn't bother me. I saw most people on social media who it did bother. Yeah. And I did see a lot who it was like either they were bothered by it or they hated Natty's acting. But hey man. That's dedication as someone who was in acting class. Yeah. Sometimes those things don't bother me. I was like, hey man, I watched it as more just like, yeah. Good on Natty for being allowed to go there. Right. Natty's been stuck in some real shitty storylines in the past. She's paid her dues. Yeah, she's paid her dues
multiple times.
She had to do a farting storyline, so to see that she's at least she's getting to do something where she gets to use her acting chops a little bit. I'm into it. I'll hang in for the ride for a little bit. Okay. But like I said, I know next week this is all gonna be. They're literally have Ruby Riott burning a photo of Anvil and Natty together, and I'm gonna
beating up Natty's mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we saw with Cena's dad. We'd see that. That's what it'll be. All right. One of the other big things that happened at Raw, because we got to jump around this thing. Authors of Pain, they won the tag team titles here over in a handicap match over Seth Rollins. This is kind of a weird way for them to give them the title. They didn't seem too that excited about it. Like they roared and whatever, but
they roared. I like how that's what their excitement is. They roared.
I've seen people cry winning titles, man. Yeah. So to me, this seemed like kind of a weird situation for them to win it this way, and it seems almost anticlimactic. You build them up, and then they go but they don't even go on a twofer. It's a handicap match. So what's the legitimacy of the title win?
Believably. God, if they had put the Authors of Pain over Dean and Seth, that would have been honestly undeserved putting them over. Yeah. I think at this point.
I don't disagree with you.
And I think that you and I have discussed how the tag team division has really kind of been all over the place lately. But the focal point has really been the Authors of Pain. Yeah, even though there's been the Bobby Roode and the Gable and the the stuff that's been swapped in, Ascension or what have you. I think at the end of the day, the real focal point has been doing this to have more teams for the Authors of Pain to wrestle. So I think it makes the most sense to have them as the tag team champions. Obviously, I would have liked something like the Revival or something like that. But at the end of the day, the Bar versus Authors of Pain sounds like a badass Survivor Series match.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
That's a new, fresh match. Yeah. I think that the Authors of Pain are over enough to where that isn't a weird matchup. I think that as much as I love the Revival, and the fans on the internet love the Revival, I don't know if on TV their characters are over enough to warrant a match against to warrant a match against the Bar. Yeah. So I think the Authors of Pain, they've been real dominant.
Yeah, they have been.
So I think it makes the most sense. Okay.
Because they went from squash matches just a few weeks ago to now having the title. it was fast.
I mean, they're big dudes, so I'll believe it. You know, and since it was they had to wrestle one guy, and even with one guy, that guy took him to the limit.
Rollins is great.
If anything, I thought to myself when I was watching it, like, man, it sucks for authors of pain that their characters had to wrestle for so long. Considering how dominant to win, considering how dominant they've been. You know, they're pretty dominant wrestlers. And it took them like, I don't know how the match in front, like the minutes from probably like 10 minutes or it was like it was a commercial break in between. So a decent amount of time to be one person. Now, granted, he's a former champion, but
still.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
And the Intercontinental Champion too. But still.
A lot of belts.
I still think that it was like man, like they really They hopefully it doesn't take them that long to beat other teams or they're screwed.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we want to talk? Dolph Ziggler and Elias. This kind of went down. Elias defeated Ziggler. So this is the furthering of Elias coming over as a face. I liked it. I thought he had some good, new, interesting moves this time around against Ziggler, which is great. Overall, I didn't necessarily sense initially that they had like chemistry, and then it came along.
Yeah.
And so you see this because Elias hasn't, from what I've seen on TV, hasn't had a lot of in-ring work with a lot of wrestlers. So he's got to develop that chemistry in the ring in front of the fans. So we're watching it step by step, week by week as he grows as a face. So
yeah, I thought the same.
Essential.
That's exactly what I thought on this one. Is that we complained about we've said that Elias needs to transition into matches, into not just doing the concerts. And I think that this was a nice start of that.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I was like, he's pretty good. You know, it's a pretty good match. Nothing bad about this match whatsoever. I'm not a huge fan of his finisher, but that's just nitpicking, I just don't like that move. I feel like it's one of those moves where it's like standard wrestler A finisher, like
and if you're gonna do that, you got to make it
so good.
Yeah, like the people's elbow or those kinds of things, or the leg drop, like simple things like that.
Well, I think Cody and Bray Wyatt also have like those finishers where they're very like given to generic wrestler who doesn't have a finisher so that he has something. But both of them have very much made it their own. Like, I think that Cody has made the Crossroads very much his own.
Oh, yeah.
Because before Cody, I mean, tons of guys had used that finisher. Right. And I always thought, like, really, that's not a very inventive finisher. Like, so many other guys have used that. Yeah. But Cody has made it, like, work, and I like when he uses it. Now, same with Bray Wyatt. It's like Fandango had that finisher right before him. They literally both were from NXT having the exact same finisher. Right. But at the end of the day, like, Bray Wyatt kind of made it his own. Yep. He made it better. So yeah, I was into the match. I really, man, when I was sitting there watching it, I tweeted about it. I said to myself, like, man, if you had told me 2 years ago the Drifter was going to be one of the most over guys on the main roster, I would have laughed in your face. Like, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Even on here, you talked about, like, James, who works on site with me, he's talked about, like, my girlfriend loves Elias, and I was always just kind of like, okay.
Well, that's what happens, man.
It was like, something within, something clicked finally, and I am fully on board with Elias now.
If you told me Shawn Michaels was going to be one of the greatest stars ever, I would have never believed you.
Really?
Coming out of what happened with the Rockers.
The Rockers?
I was like, this guy with the sandy blonde hair, get the fuck out of here. Like,
did you think Marty was going to be a bigger deal?
I liked Marty way more than Shawn, I'll be honest with you. Because I thought Marty was more of a good, sound, technical wrestler than Shawn was. Shawn was the showman.
Yeah.
And he was the...
Very much so.
Yeah, and we'd seen a number of punks come through with with that kind of like cocky vibe. You'd seen it happen on a number of tag teams through the Rock and Roll Express, all these... Like, there was a lineage of those. Freebird, same thing. And so I never thought it was going to be Shawn. And then, that kick heard around the world was everything. At that point, it changed everything, So, but anyway, Ronda Rousey now coming out, doing the whole thing, put Becky Lynch over. I really don't know what's going to happen between these two in this match, and it makes me excited for this match.
Me too. I'm very excited for this match.
Because I want Becky to destroy her. That would be fantastic.
I've been wondering, like, today, because I've had people tweeting me.
Yeah.
I want to know, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Like, they're in a real catch-22 here because...
Both of them are on the ascendant.
Yeah.
In their respective shows.
Yes.
And so what do you do here?
And it's different than like a Ryback scenario where I guess Ronda could kind of be considered like that, like the Ryback situation where like he was on a huge ascent and then he had like something and do you have him lose now?
Yeah.
But Becky's on the same thing. Like Becky is killing it. Killing it. Becky is savage on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
If I was a WWE star, I wouldn't even add her.
I wouldn't even try.
I would not even try.
She took Rollins to the cleaners. She buckle bomb Rollins.
Did you see the one that she did like an hour ago to Rollins?
I haven't.
Oh my God.
Here.
It was that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good. What she said.
Who's that? Who's the bench warmer that she's going after constantly? The girl from NXT. Is it from girl from NXT? She's always going after her.
Which one?
There's one of those bench warmers was coming after her. That's what he calls her. Calls her a bench warmer.
I have to go back and look.
Oh my
I'm
God,
not sure.
it's the best.
So.
I mean, she even changed her thing to the man on Twitter. Literally, it says the man.
Oh, yeah, because Seth said, don't get your cute little flame pants in a bunch to Becky.
Oh, no.
And she said, quote, come on, brain, think. How do we respond? 3 days later. I got it. I'll say kind of what she said. Oh, man, I'm going to win the internet with this one.
Destruction. Destruction.
I was dying of that one. I was like, oh, my God, she's murdering Seth Rollins. The best. First of all, I want to say, since I'm always pro Ronda and I get shit for being so positive, I will say here, this was probably her weakest promo that she's had so far, right?
Ronda's? Yes.
Right? That wasn't just me that felt that
agree.
way. It almost looked like she looked shook for the first time. And I don't know if it was Becky's tweets, which we're referring to, but
You don't know mess with Becky.
Yeah, she looked a little shook.
Yeah, Ronda's out of her element with Becky.
Yeah, it almost looked like it was like, as she was saying everything, she was thinking about what Becky was going to tweet in response to these things. And it looked like she got her off her game a little bit for some reason. So, yeah, I didn't love this promo like I've liked some of her other ones. Yeah. So yeah, it was a not the best segment in my opinion.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it didn't like blow me away or anything like that. But I am super looking forward to Becky versus Ronda because for that same reason. I really want to know what you do in that scenario because like you can't have Ronda Rousey lose yet.
Yeah.
That's how you can't have Ronda Rousey lose yet.
Oh, if you do, it's got to be, and what I think is what they set up here with Nia Jax and Tamina, we're getting closer to that. We're getting closer to female tag team division.
Totally. They're clearly setting them all up.
It's setting it all up. But this also let me know with Nia Jax coming out, interrupting Ronda and doing what she did, that Nia still wants a piece of Ronda.
Well, she has that title shot.
Exactly. So she could have something to do with this. She could come into the match, interfere, demolish. If they make this a no DQ match, which they totally should, it would be interesting to have Tamina and Nia come out and absolutely demolish Ronda and Becky just lay on top of her with a big smile on her face for the pin. That way, Ronda loses, but doesn't lose in a way that's like straight up. That's interference, which is what I thought was going to happen and did kind of happen at Evolution. That twin magic almost worked. If you put Nia and Tamina in the situation, say goodnight. Because who's going to come out and save Ronda? Ronda has nobody on her team that's like overtly for Ronda because then the Bellas left her.
She got Natalia, but yeah.
Yeah, Natalia?
Yeah.
You bust a pair of glasses, she's pieces. There's nothing left.
Yeah, I mean...
It ain't going to be Sasha and it ain't going to be Bayley.
I've been real team, like, don't have Ronda lose yet. But...
Because then that
you do make a good point. Like, that does set up
the
things.
fire between them for the match. Yeah,
I mean, it does. It does.
Yeah.
I think you don't do DQ. I think you don't do no DQ match. I think that the only, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I think the only out is for them to have a competitive match.
Yeah.
And then Nia and Tamina come out and
as a DQ.
As a DQ.
Oh, yeah, possible. Certainly possible.
You know?
I think it deflates.
And maybe even, honestly, beat up both of them. Come in.
Sure.
So that it's no contest.
Right.
Then technically no one lost.
That's a good point.
No one won, no one lost.
Right.
They wrestled. Nobody. Because you got to save Ronda's loss for a bigger deal.
You save all three, don't you? You save, if you do that, which is a good point, Ryan, you save Ronda's invincibility thing, you save Becky Lynch's ascendancy, and then you establish these two as essentially the new AOPs, the female AOPs.
It's kind of how I was looking at it.
It's not a bad way to go.
As much as like it's a bummer to say that like a match should end in a no contest, how do you pick? How do you have one of those women beat the other?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
You can't do it right now. No.
Especially it being is it the first 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen feud?
Yeah, maybe.
It is, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that because Ronda's never feuded with Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, Well, Becky's the first one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's the first 4 horsewomen of MMA versus 4 horsewomen of the UFC. That's kind of important.
Yep.
You know what? That's kind of important because that is something they're building towards low key on the back end. You got to do no DQ because then you can't give the edge to one of them yet either. You have to do no contest like that and just give you can't give the edge to one of them. That's the only way that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the only way.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm just reading the Ronda one. Siri, post generic mild threat to the man on my Twitter. And I suppose you better say something about Nia, too, because she was just standing there last night.
That was so good. I loved it. She's just literally like...
Wow. Dude, the Lynch Cash thing is brilliant, too. Johnny Cash and the Becky Lynch thing. Have you seen that?
I don't think
This
so.
is all genius. This is if you're not following Becky Lynch, you are missing out on some fantastic stuff. All right, so then we move forward with Raw. I'm going to wrap this up here as we've gone on a bit.
Sorry.
No, not your fault. Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor. I don't think there's anything to say about that. Do you give a shit?
Do
you like it?
I don't dislike it, but I don't think there's anything new that progressed this week that was different from last week, right?
All right, I agree. All right, let's talk about this Kurt Angle thing real quick.
I'm just looking at like making sure there's nothing I did like that were before we get to the end. Before we get to that last one,
okay.
2 things. One,
yes.
Do you like the pairing of Nia and Tamina?
Yes,
I do too. I saw a lot of people talking shit on it.
I didn't like it initially. But then when I saw them together and their chemistry in that little segment there, and then their reaction, because it's sad that Ember Moon had to be the one that they did that with, because Ember Moon has been so great since she came up. I liked how it reinforced them. Nia is the emotional one. Tamina is the destructive one. That was
why I liked it as well.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't just me that felt that way because I saw a lot of people that were like kind of poo-pooing all over it on Twitter, and I felt like Nia has gotten away from feeling like an undefeatable force. She feels like she just kind of feels too happy. It's similar to Finn Balor, too smiley. Like we get it, you're body positive. Right. Like it's a good thing for women, but like character-wise in a wrestling program, it doesn't necessarily entice me to make me want to watch her beat people up. Right. You know, and this definitely did. Like it took her a second. Like, do I join in? Okay, I'm joining in. Yeah. I'm badass now. Right. I like that. I was into that, you know?
Yep.
And I felt so bad for Jinder Mahal and Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Just such who cares, like, I just felt so bad. Like, man, I think we said it already, like, Jinder Mahal was a former champion.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel bad for the guy. I'm just like, man, how far he has fallen. And just like how little anyone cared about anything going on there. It was literally just like, yeah, there's Jinder and Apollo Crews wrestling. Okay,
it's just done, man.
I know. I felt bad for the situation because I think they're both entertaining guys. So
all right, we got the red lights. We got to wrap up.
We did. We did. 10 minutes left. That means we got 10 minutes left.
I got to jump on something at 2:00. So
okay,
all right. Kurt Angle, Drew McIntyre.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like it because it made me feel terrible for Kurt. And it was just destructive, and I get what they're pushing the storyline of like he's going to become what he's going to become, and he's going to go forward in this way. But I didn't like it at all in that way because I didn't think he deserved it. And unless you're going to write him off television,
Kurt,
Kurt. Then I think it works because then you're like, you had a nice run. We brought you back. We gave you some stuff here at Crown Jewel. You couldn't get the job done because we didn't script it for you to get the job done. And now McIntyre, this reaffirms McIntyre as his force of nature. You know, because he also destroyed Balor before he even started this match,
which was random, but I liked it.
Totally random. But he just demolished Angle to the point that what's left of Angle now, it kind of ends this idea that Angle was ever going to be anything, which is ironic because they didn't like pushing Taker and all these older guys at Rumble.
You're not enticed by the Logan-esque storyline that I see while watching it?
I'm enticed that you see it because I didn't see it presented here.
Because I feel like the whole like Drew McIntyre getting in his face and being like, "You need to go home. Like you're done. You're nothing." That to me is the beginning. That's like the precursor scene to a montage in movies, you know, where like they go like, "You're done, you're old, you can't do it," and the guy goes like, "No, I can do it," you know, and they come back. To me, that's the story they're setting up here, and I like that story. Okay. Like I'm all about a redemption story, like a Rocky, like you don't feel like they could pull a Rocky. The newer Rocky movies out of this, like really, because that's the vibe I get, where it's like where Rocky's been lurking in the shadows, and he's gonna come back, and he's gonna have one last moment in the sun, and then he's gonna go away. I don't know, that's to me, That's the like.
But did you see anything in the wrestling skills that he had at Crown Jewel and here? That
Well, to me though, he's played. You know how I'm trying to think of what it's comparable to. Remember, like when Brock Lesnar came back after MMA and his style was completely different in wrestling.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing moves like he used to. He was like doing suplexes only.
Yeah.
Or, he was doing
all power moves.
All power moves. But it was such a drastically different style than we had been accustomed to. I almost felt like the story they're trying to tell, and maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I am completely seeing the wrong story here. So if you guys aren't, if you're seeing what Rocha's seeing, let me know on Twitter or vice versa. But when I watched it, I was thinking that he's purposely trying, and the Dolph loss too. To me, they're purposely trying to make it look like Kurt Angle can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah.
So that when he can't, when he does, you're gonna be like, oh, Kurt Angle's back. Like when he has that like final Hulk up moment where he's like, no, like I am the Olympic hero.
Right.
When he does that, I think everyone's gonna go crazy. That's what I see them set up. That's why they had him lose to Dolph after hitting the Angle Slam. The Angle Slam's not what it used to be.
Right.
He tapped out to he lost to the ankle lock last time. Tapped out to the ankle lock. To me, it's like they're trying, it's like the villains in a movie who are one-upping your old hero who is like been lurking in the shadows for, like a reboot.
Yeah.
It's like a reboot. And they're like, he's getting beaten down, and he's going to get beaten down, and then he's going to come back out of as the Olympic hero. That's how I see it. I don't know.
Okay.
That's what I hope. I don't know.
Well, as the outlaw who's taken some losses and climbed back in to be champion, I understand that whole thing. I get it. Everyone said I was old and done. The young guys had beat me. Snyder had beat me, and then I came climbing back in to be the champion. So I get it. It's certainly possible. And I had to beat Young Bucks they thought I couldn't beat to get there. So I get it.
How great was Drew McIntyre's Angle Slam?
Yeah, it was great.
I was like, whoa, he made the Angle Slam look even cooler somehow.
He's got to get a better T-shirt, and I will get it.
I agree. He needs a cooler T-shirt for sure.
That end is no good. Yeah. I need something else here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that front. But
because he's blowing up, man.
Do you think they're going to go Drew McIntyre over Braun as like the face? Because they're really, like last night, they were really leaning into it.
Yep.
Because they set up Drew versus Braun, but then they kind of moved away from that last night. It felt they went more for Baron and Braun because of what happened at
Crown Jewel. Yeah.
Crown Jewel. So yeah, we'll see. Did you like Raw?
I would say that coming off of Crown Jewel, I liked Raw. But
nice palate cleanser.
Yeah, palate cleanser. But I didn't really enjoy a lot of the matches. But I didn't mind watching it last night.
Yeah, it's funny when I was driving, I was thinking like, oh, Rocha's gonna ask me that, and I was thinking like, I didn't not like the show.
Right.
It's just I didn't like the show. Like, I didn't dislike it. I liked a lot of the things. It was easy to watch.
Yes.
But I wasn't like angry while watching. I wasn't like, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Like before we've been in certain weeks.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, what did you all think of the show? Let us know in the comments section below there, or tweet at us give us your thoughts about the numerous matches and about Crown Jewel. Did you like what we had to say? Did you not like what we had to say? Let us know. It's always good to have some good discourse, not toxic or troll discourse. Good discourse about these kinds of things. Always
troll
fun.
Discourse. I like that.
Yeah, troll discourse is when they don't capitalize anything and they don't punctuate at the end of sentences. That is the most frustrating discourse to have, in my opinion.
Or when they capitalize the first letter of every word.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how people do that.
Stop that crap. Let's know that. But that's our Raw Collider Body Slam Raw recap. Ryan, tell them where they can follow us and all that kind of stuff.
YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where our videos are. Podcast 1, Wrestling Sheet Radio, iTunes. That's where you can check out the feed. There's other shows on there. Last week, Aaron's still on a little bit of a hiatus. He's dealing with some stuff.
Yes.
But we had a new Best of the Rest scope over the weekend. It went up a little later than I'd expected, but a new Best of the Rest went up. It's kind of funny. Two sober guys talking about the top 5 alcohol-related storylines in wrestling, which got a pop out of me because I was like, wait, these guys are sober. Why are they doing the alcohol one? But I liked it. James is celebrating a year of sobriety, so that's why he went and did that. So, which I liked. It made me laugh. So congrats to James on that. So go to the YouTube channel, though, for other videos. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. Subscribe, comment, share. I see they're getting shares, which are...
That's thank you.
Thank you very much. You have no idea how much it means to me. The likes, too. I see the page growing. I see the notifications. I see the subscriptions. So really, 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 the subscriber count helps me out a lot. I appreciate you guys on there very much. So if you want to follow Wrestling Sheet, it's ProWrestlingSheet.com, and it's at Wrestling Sheet on social media as well.
Yeah. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Follow Ryan at Ryan Satin. And then we're good to go. We'll see you tomorrow for another Collider Body Slam Smackdown Live recap.
ProWrestlingSheet.com